And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. And then the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with the Conservative Syndicate every Monday and Friday from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, and you can call into my show if you just want to comment or engage me in conversation about anything. Dial directly in at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Well, on today's special segments, Sean LaFay will be here. He'll be talking about healthcare, and our own roving reporter, Suzette Mailer, will be calling in. She's going to be presenting a special guest. They're going to be talking about noise pollution. You don't want to miss it. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. But before that, I want you to know that at 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 67 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? I want to encapsulate the news and give you just kind of an abbreviation of what's going on in the world today. And then as soon as we get done with that, what I'll do is I'll get into a little more in-depth as far as we can with the time that's allotted to us. But right now, I want you to know about the 10 things to know for today, Tuesday, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and tomorrow. First up, explosive vest found in a Paris suburb by a streetcar cleaner. The discovery near where a fugitive suspect's cell phone was also found raises the possibility the suspect aborted his mission, either ditching a malfunctioning vest or fleeing in fear. And Obama seeks more help from allies in battling Islamic State extremists. I should say extremists, I guess. The other one sounds a little nasty. It is, I think. And anyway, the request for military and other aid come a day before French President Hollande is to arrive at the White House to discuss the effort. And deal to combine drug makers Pfizer and Allergan stirs an outcry. The $160 billion deal would include the biggest tax inversion ever. That's when U.S. corporations combine with companies overseas to lower their tax bill. And why NBC is giving away airtime. Yep, the network agrees to give 4 Republican presidential candidates free time after they complained that Donald Trump unfairly benefited from appearing as the host of Saturday Night Live. Well, how about this? Questions surround violence at the New Orleans playground. Police still aren't sure what touched off the wild shootout that wounded 17 in a crowd of hundreds at a block party, nor have any suspects been ID'd so far. And what's expediting overland Cuban exodus to America? Well, smartphones and messaging apps have become vital as migrants navigate the 3,400-mile journey via Central America that's become Cuba's main route to the United States. Well, a man in prison for 16 years for rape conviction is exonerated. A judge orders the California inmate freed after DNA links the crime to a serial rapist on the FBI's most wanted list. 16 years. Wow. And scientists report possible breakthrough against malaria. researchers create a strain of mosquitoes that could pass a specially engineered malaria blocking gene to about 99% of their offspring. And that's amazing, And retailers struggle to follow Amazon's lead. With Amazon offering same-day delivery to a number of its customers, many merchants would like to do the same, but they found the logistics and costs a difficult challenge, I should say. And finally, whose album is off like a rocket? Well, Adele's 25 sells more than 2.3 million copies in the United States alone during its first 3 days on the market. Well, let's get into a little more in-depth news right now. Obama and Hollande pledged solidarity against the Islamic State. In a show of Western solidarity, President Barack Obama and French President François Hollande vowed today to escalate airstrikes against the Islamic State and bolster intelligence sharing following the deadly attacks in Paris. They called on Russia to join the international efforts, but only if Moscow ends its support for Syria's embattled president. Russia is the outlier, Obama said during a joint White House news conference with Hollande. Today's meeting came hours after Turkey shot down a Russian warplane near the Syrian border. The incident underscored the complex military landscape in Syria, where a sprawling cast of countries and rebel groups are engaged on the battlefield in the skies overhead, sometimes with minimal coordination. Well, we'll see what happens with that, right? You'd think that everybody would want to cooperate, but, it doesn't seem to be in the cards these days, I don't think. Well, you heard me talk about it. Turkey shoots down a Russian jet that it says violated its airspace. Yep. Well, Turkey shot down a Russian warplane today that it said ignored repeated warnings and crossed into its airspace from Syria, killing at least one of the two pilots in a long-feared escalation in tensions between Russia and NATO. Russian President Vladimir Putin denounced what he called a stab in the back and warned of significant consequences. The shootdown, the first time in half a century that a NATO member has downed a Russian plane, prompted an emergency meeting of the alliance. The incident highlighted the chaotic complexity of Syria's civil war, where multiple groups with clashing alliances are fighting on the ground, and the sky is crowded with aircraft bombing various targets. And with that, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit more in depth in the latest about that Russia pilot killed by ground fire in Syria. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more news.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And I promised you more news. Well, here's the latest. Russia pilot is killed by ground fire in Syria. The latest on the Russian warplane shot down by Turkey today. And here's the deal. Russia's military general staff says that one of the pilots of the Su-24 warplane that was shot down by Turkey was killed by ground fire as he parachuted from the crippled plane. Russian news agencies reported the statement today by General Staff spokesman Lieutenant General Sergei Rudskoy, who also said that rebels in Syria fired on a Russian helicopter that was searching for the two pilots of the Su-24. He said that shooting killed one crew member on the Mi-8 helicopter and forced it to land in neutral territory. The rest of the crew was evacuated. Rudskoy also said that Russian radar data showed that Turkish warplanes had violated Syrian airspace in the course of shooting down the Russian plane. Well, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is urging all parties to take urgent measures to de-escalate tensions following Turkey's downing of the Russian fighter jet. UN spokesman Stephanie Dujarric said that Secretary General believes today's worrying developments underscore the importance of international unity and cooperation against violent extremists in the region, as well as the urgent need to find a solution to the Syrian conflict. Well, we'll see what happens. It just seems like nothing works out anymore. Everything just works out for the worst, not the best. Well, it's official. Paris attacks attacks organizer was planning more carnage. The man believed to have planned the November 13th Paris attacks that killed 130 people and wounded hundreds more had likely planned to carry out another suicide bombing days later in the French capital's business district, the Paris prosecutor said today. Abdelhamid Abaoud and his accomplice were believed to have been planning to attack La Défense on November the 18th or 19th, Paris prosecutor Francois Moline said. Aboud was among 3 people killed during a police raid on an apartment in northern Paris suburb in the early hours of November 18th. His female cousin, Hasna Ait Bolashin, died of asphyxia, apparently from the explosive vest detonated by a third person, who hasn't been identified, the prosecutor said. The explosion led to part of the apartment collapsing. Well, you know what? Moline said the unidentified third person is believed to have been the accomplice with whom Aboud would have carried out an attack on La Défense, the high-rise district that is headquarters to major companies on the western edge of Paris. Wow. You know, it's sad what happened. It's great that we didn't let it go that they didn't let it go any farther. Well, since 2001, Clinton's collected $35 million from financial businesses. Well, Hillary Rodham Clinton wants voters to know she is no friend of Wall Street, but Wall Street has frequently been a friend of her. In the 18 months prior to her announcing a second campaign for president, the frontrunner from the Democratic nomination addressed private equity investors in California and New York, delivered remarks to bankers in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and spoke to brokers at the Ritz-Carlton in Naples, Florida. Her efforts capped a nearly 15-year period in which Clinton and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, made at least $35 million by giving 164 speeches to financial services, real estate, and insurance companies after leaving the White House in 2001, according to the Associated Press analysis of public disclosure forms and records released by her campaign. The long and lucrative relationship between the Clinton family and the nation's finance industry has emerged as a key issue in her Democratic primary race. Her rivals, including Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, accuse her of being too cozy with Wall Street and the industry she once represented as a senator from New York. Well, you know what? Time will tell what goes on there, but it just smacks bad, doesn't it? Sure it does. Well, let's talk about a group raised suspicions before 5 were shot at a police protest. Protesters demanding justice for a black man fatally shot by Minneapolis police were settling in for their ninth night of demonstrations when something just didn't seem right. Lingering in the crowd were 4 people who seemed out of place. They were asked to leave. Moments later, shots rang out about a block away. I really didn't think it was like firecrackers or something initially, because it was so loud and there was like this acrid smell, protester G. Ronsky Riley said. I thought surely they are not shooting at us. Then Ronsky Riley heard the cries of wounded people on the ground. I really understood the danger that we were in and what had happened. Police say 5 people were shot in the attack, which unfolded late Monday near a police precinct where dozens of protesters have been camped out since the November 15th fatal shooting of Jamar Clark. None suffered life-threatening wounds. On today, authorities arrested 2 men, one 23-year-old white man and one 32-year-old Hispanic man, and said they were seeking additional suspects. According to police, Clark was shot after he struggled with officers, but some people who said they saw the shooting said the 24-year-old was handcuffed. Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman said it will be up to a grand jury to decide whether to bring charges against officers in Clark's death. Freeman issued a statement today after repeated requests by black activist group to make the decision himself rather than go to a grand jury. Protesters have complained that grand juries are unlikely to indict police officers. Well, time will tell with that, I suppose. And Chicago officer charged with murder in killing a black teenager. A white Chicago police officer who shot a black teenager 16 times last year was charged with first-degree murder today, a day before the deadline for the city to release a video of the killing that many people fear could spark unrest. Cook County State's Attorney Anita Alvarez defended the 13 months it took to charge Officer Jason Van Dyke in the slaying. City officials and community leaders have been bracing for the release of the video, fearing the kind of unrest that occurred in cities such as Baltimore and Ferguson, Missouri, after young black men were slain by police or died in police custody. You know, the judge who ordered the release of the dash cam recording said it must be put out by Wednesday. City officials spent months arguing that the footage could not be made public until the conclusion of several investigations. Well, you know what? They're afraid to put it out for obvious reasons, and we don't want that to happen. But let me just leave you with this, a little nicer note. Thanksgiving travel for 2015. Cheap gas, but fears of terrorism are going on. And so let's talk about that just briefly before we go on our commercial break. That other Thanksgiving tradition, congested highways and jammed airports, is getting underway with gas prices low and terrorism fears high. An estimated 46.9 million Americans are expected to take a car, plane, bus, or train at least 50 miles from home over the long holiday weekend, according to the motoring organization AAA. That would be an increase of more than 300,000 people over last year and the most travelers since 2007. Among the reasons given for the increase, an improving economy and the cheapest gasoline for this time of year since 2008. Having said that, do not go away. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the IRS loses. The first case is they can't reject papers as being late when they were actually sitting on the agent's desk. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And here we are at my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And we've got some great cases for you today. Let's start with the first one, and that is the IRS cannot reject papers as being late when they were sitting on the agent's desk. Listen to this. During an IRS appeals hearing, an IRS agent asked the taxpayer to submit a package of papers by July the 31st. Now, he didn't receive them by that date, but they were delivered on August the 8th. On August the 12th, he sent out a notice rejecting the appeal because the package had been late. So he went to court. This is what the judge said. The package had been delayed due to a postal emergency and postal security procedures and that were put into effect after that, and included a note from the Postal Service saying so. Now, the postmark on it needed to prove timely mailing was actually illegible. In light of that, and the fact that it was on the agent's desk when he rejected the appeal, Well, it was an abuse of discretion for him to do so. And so the agent loses that and the appeal is set forth. Well, here's another case for you. The IRS loses. Tax court can hear new evidence about an innocent spouse claim. Here's the story. A woman sought relief from liability for a tax bill that her husband had incurred on his business income. The IRS denied it, saying that she had known the tax was owed and she was still married to her husband. When she went to tax court, the IRS claimed the court could not consider any new evidence that the IRS hadn't already considered. This is what the judge said. The tax court can always consider new evidence when determining the amount of a deficiency, as it does in innocent spouse cases, to reach judgment on the full merits rather than just the IRS record. And here, on the full merits, the wife had an especially strong case for relief, and so, yep, she gets it. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? Absolutely. Let me give you one more case before we move on. The IRS loses. Reporting too much income is not tax fraud. Think about it. This is interesting. A woman filed late tax returns for several years in preparation for a bankruptcy filing. She mistakenly included her unmarried live-in companion's income on those tax returns. The IRS then objected that she had filed false returns, so her taxes were not dischargeable. This is what the bankruptcy court said. The IRS proposition that including an income on a tax return by a taxpayer, which is not the taxpayer's income, but someone else's, is tantamount to filing a false return, defiles credibility. Clearly, to do so is asinine and stupid, but that is not a hallmark of any taint of fraud, since the person who is harmed by this action is not the government, but the taxpayer themselves. And so, the IRS objection is dismissed. Isn't that the way it should be? Sure it is. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Well, that's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Yeah, well, here we are inside the IRS. And you know what? These are not tax court cases, but these are things that the IRS has ruled on that you certainly want to know about, and you can use it to your advantage just by applying it properly. First thing up is, what about leasing versus buying equipment for your business? You know, even though a transaction is structured as a lease, the IRS may take the position that you really purchased that asset. And the consequence? Instead of deducting the entire monthly lease payments, you'll be required to depreciate the cost of the asset using IRS guidelines. Now, the IRS will generally challenge a leasing transaction if you're able to purchase the equipment for a nominal fee at the end of the lease. So here's a strategy for you. Ask your accountant to help structure the lease to make sure that it'll survive an IRS challenge. And your accountant is the perfect person to do that. Here's another one for you. When a tax return is fraudulently prepared, you know, the accountant who prepared the tax return may be susceptible to pressure from the IRS agent who discovers, let me get that, there we go, may be susceptible to the IRS agent who discovers that he or she helped the taxpayer coordinate a transaction that resulted in tax evasion. Here's an example for you. The accountant advised the taxpayer that business deposits made into the checking account should be classified as loan payments to avoid reflecting them as income on the tax return. Now, when faced with going to jail, the accountant will likely tell the IRS agent everything that he wants to hear. So here's a self-defense for you. When a tax return was fraudulently prepared, the accountant who prepared it should never represent the taxpayer before the IRS. The taxpayer should hire an experienced tax attorney and be able to rely on attorney-client privilege to avoid providing incriminating information to the IRS. Well, that takes us to a commercial point. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be with my favorite buddy, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll see what Sean's got in store for us right after these brief messages. So, don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 67 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 71 degrees. Actually, I thought it was hot. I thought that was hotter today, but I guess not. But it's on its way to 47, which is going to be really cool and really nice. You know what? And our good buddy Sean LaFave is waiting in the wings here for us. And where he's at, it's 64 degrees and partly cloudy. But you know what? He lives in God's land. You know, it's just a beautiful place to live. But you know what? Let's not waste any more time. Let me get a proper introduction for him and get him in here and see what the heck it is we're going to be talking about today.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Hey, Sean, welcome aboard, buddy. Good to have you here. And you know what? I just have no idea what you're going to talk about unless it's going to be mosquitoes.
You know, hi, Robert. You know, that's exactly what I swear. It's the truth. Of course, you did send me an article, but yes, that's exactly what I want to talk about is mosquitoes.
I thought that was just, actually, before we talk about it, because it was actually part of the news. It was part of the news today. But why don't you kind of just recap just briefly what that is before we get into the conversation? Because I think it's just absolutely fascinating. What's the word I want to use? Development with regard to getting rid of what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, well, it's they're trying to use genetically modified or genetically engineered, I guess would be the better word for it, mosquitoes to try to wipe out malaria. And I guess the mosquitoes somehow are genetically engineered to where they are immune from the malaria, and so they can't be a carrier of it, which means they can't pass it from person to person.
And so when they actually mate, the offspring, because the mosquitoes don't live that long, but the offspring are incapable of carrying malaria, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's I guess the trick is they've got this. They're able to get the mosquito designed the way they want it to be designed, but the trick is releasing it into the wild and enough of them repopulating with the current species that's there and having that gene. They've got some sort of a gene push sort of method. I don't understand exactly how it works. This is way beyond my education level or ever even care to learn how to read that much, but to make sure that gene becomes dominant, so the offspring of the engineered mosquito and the non-engineered mosquito have mosquito babies that are immune from malaria. So but
isn't it just fascinating? First of all, I've got I'd bet you money Monsanto had nothing to do with this one. This is a good re-engineering. It's extremely fascinating. Stuff like this it's unbelievably fascinating. You read it and it just amazes me how they're able to take something so tiny. I mean, it's a mosquito. Yeah. They're the most annoying things on the face of the planet, other than your ex. And they can. It took me a while. It got to me.
They're both bloodsuckers, right? So, I mean, what's the difference? But really,
oh boy.
To take something that's so annoying and really, so tiny, but just to be able to genetically modify it to where maybe it could actually, almost serve something good. I'm really torn when I read that, because part of me goes, this is really cool. We could actually prevent malaria. But then I go, okay, what are these little Franken mosquitoes going to be doing, like a few generations down the road?
They're still going to be sucking your blood, and you're still going to be squashing them on the top of your arm. But geez, I can't believe I actually did that when I said it. but you know what? They're still going to be pests. They're still going to be getting our way here.
Yeah,
they're still not going to make you sick.
Right, but they just won't pass on the malaria. But here's where I look at this stuff like that, and I go, there's a lot of things in this world that started out with the best of intentions and ended up becoming arsenals of war, Mm-hmm. And really, what is to stop us from going, hey, we able to make a mosquito that can prevent malaria? Why not make mosquitoes that can do biological harm to people in a war scenario, or go wipe out it? Maybe they could carry something that would create I don't know, an infertility or
even better yet, you suppose that we could actually modify a mosquito to recognize ISIS members and just give them malaria?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be. Now, see, there we go. Now that would be awesome. You just go after the ones with a really bad body odor and get them. Everybody else, if you want to live, take a shower. It's so funny. It was in the, and I don't want to get on politics today, because I get in trouble whenever we do. But I was just.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I really never asked you this. But do you and your mother share the same political viewpoint?
Well, we don't really talk about it, so I think that we probably have some common ground. But I know that I'm sure that she doesn't agree with everything.
Well, when you said you get in trouble, I was thinking, the only person you could get in trouble from that would make any difference would be your mom.
No, there's plenty of other people that listen to the radio show. Trust me. I hear it. So, but it's so funny. The propaganda machine is just crazy out there. I heard that they were making basically saying that Obama's trying to protect the ISIS because they're dropping leaflets in areas where they're going to be bombing ISIS equipment. And I thought, at first glance, you go, well, why would he care about saving ISIS members? But, of course, I'm assuming they're trying to save the civilians.
Yeah.
But we did the exact same thing. I remember, and I still got.
I know where you're going. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, we did it there. We did it in Desert Storm. I've got the ones from Desert Storm that we would drop the bomber would go by, drop all these leaflets, and say, tomorrow at such and such time, we're going to bomb this area. So if you want to live, go away.
Well, you know what the justification for this one is, though, don't you? The real justification is we're not destroying any of their equipment; it's our equipment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're destroying the equipment that we gave them. Yeah. Anyway, I won't get on that too much. But you're right. That's exactly what we're doing. We gave them equipment. Now we're going to go in and destroy it. That's, your tax dollars hard at work. And I'm sure we'll find a way to blame this one on George Bush too.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. But no, that concerns me though. To take these mosquitoes and we can genetically modify them to do at least maybe to do no harm at the best. They're still going to be annoying. They're still going to bite you.
But what bothers you, right, is it could go the other way. Isn't that what we do with biological warfare?
Right, exactly. Like, what's to stop them from going, okay, let's take this one step farther. Let's make it capable of carrying something, but let's make a mosquito that only has a lifespan of 24 hours. So we can release it into an area and
stay the hell out of there ourselves, right?
Yeah, and then after it goes in and it starts biting a bunch of people, I don't know. You gotta think long term. Genetically engineered bugs, I'm sure there's some good that can come out of it, but like anything else, there's got to be some bad to come out of it. And I can just see it to be used for warfare, to be used for population control, to be used for introducing new. What the medical community loves new diseases because it means new drugs and it means new money. And so let's just stop them from finding a virus that otherwise would not have been widespread.
You just burst my bubble because I was so happy it's such an advancement, and now there's no question in my mind that certainly the military is going to go in that direction. You just ruined my day. I hope you're happy.
I am. I love ruining. I don't want anybody to walk away from me ever and go, "Gosh, my life is awesome." If I can't beat you down a couple notches, I'm just not doing a good job.
Well, so I think we probably squashed this mosquito to death. Did you get anything out of that young little boy who got the new vocal cord box?
I thought that was even more fascinating because. This was a boy, they said, okay, he's got a rare, deadly condition that 1% chance that he's going to live. And they went in while he was still in the womb and did a surgery to his throat so that he could breathe because they said he was not going to be able to breathe when he was born. And so they had to do the surgery while he was still in the mother's womb, which to me, that whole process, you got to cut the woman open. Yeah. You got to cut the womb open. You got to cut the fetus open, this little baby that's not even born yet. And I'm just like, so many layers of potential disaster. And then they just sew it all back up. And in fact, my son and I, Victor and I, we watch this TV show called House. Mm-hmm. It's on Netflix. I don't like watching regular cable because I hate commercials and all that stuff, but we watch House on Netflix, and it's really interesting because for those who don't know, Dr. House is the head of this special team at a hospital where when someone comes in with something weird and strange and unusual, the team has to get together and figure out what's wrong with the person.
Well, Dr. House himself is a little strange and unusual.
Well, he is a little strange and unusual, and he just he's I love his character though. He's just very direct. He has no tact, no bedside manner whatsoever. But there was a scene in one of the TV shows where he had to do a surgery on a fetus, and of course he. His character is, that he doesn't believe in any type of higher power. When you die, you go into the dirt and you're done, and that's it. Well, while he was doing the surgery, the little hand of the little baby reached out and grabbed his finger, and of course, it made him pause and think for a moment about, the possibility of, because I think he had suggested this woman get an abortion instead of do the surgery. And all of a sudden he's like, okay, this little thing that I said should be aborted just grabbed my hand. You can see, they always show those things, but it was funny because when that happened, Victor thought that was really cool. I said, that actually happened in real life.
Oh, really? You know what? Hey, hold that thought because I think you've got a story behind it, and we've only got 45 seconds to a commercial. So basically, what you're going to tell us about is in real life the fact that actually happened, and we'll be talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll come right back after these brief messages. Don't go away. Matter of fact, you don't want to miss this. We'll send Sean and his son after you if you do.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner. And he was going to tell us about I was going to say an abortive child. You can put it in a much better way, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, no, it was a in utero surgery, and I don't know if it was the very first one or if it was one of the first ones, but it was certainly revolutionary. It was something that I want to say that maybe it was the first one, and of course, the debate has always been going on about when does life begin? When is it really a person? Is it a person after the second trimester, third trimester, after birth? Kind of like that's the whole the argument behind the abortion debate. But they went in and did surgery on this soon to be born baby, and it made headline news. And I want to say this was about 20 years ago. I wish I had the details that I could sound really eloquent and remember all the facts about, what the surgery was for. It was,
well, before you go any farther, because you were saying they're going to do surgery, were they going to abort the child, or were they going to actually do surgery on the child?
No. They wanted to do surgery on the child, just like they did. And I'm assuming this is where the inspiration came from for what happened in the TV show.
Yeah.
But they were doing surgery. It was like it was a very untested kind of thing, and so they were doing the surgery on the baby in the uterus. And I want to say it was maybe the first one. It was certainly the first one that made headline news. And everyone knew that the surgery was going to happen. So it wasn't like the surgery happened and then the news came out. The news came out about it beforehand because it was such a revolutionary process. But what happened was the baby, when they cut open the womb, the baby actually reached out of the mother's stomach and grabbed a hold of the doctor's finger. And this was a baby who was like at least 3 months away from being born.
Wow.
It wasn't like it was like a month. We're talking, and I wish I had the details. Maybe I'll look it up, and next week I can elaborate a little bit more. I don't have a computer here with me, but I bet you a lot of people probably think that I'm sitting here typing away on my computer, like looking up all this stuff. And I have no resources. I can't even, my phone won't even go online when I'm talking on the phone to you. So
don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, Sean. I've got 4 computers sitting in front of me right now.
I believe it. Well, the dude, I'm going to text you. Okay, look this up, Robert, and then say it and make me look smart. But they did the surgery, and it was like, I think it was on the cover of Time magazine or People or whatever one of the magazines was, and how. Like, what does that mean that this baby was it, just a human connectedness that it was reaching out for? What is, how is it, why is it that this baby reached out and the first thing it did was grab the finger of the doctor that was doing the surgery on him?
You know what the baby was saying? Who the hell turned on the lights? Get out of here.
He's like, hey buddy, can you dim the lights a little bit? Yeah. My first time, you have to have these bright lights shining on me. Come on, work with me here. But it was a pretty powerful thing, and it made a lot of people stop and pause and think for at least a good 2 days, and then we all went back to not caring anymore, I'm sure. But it was cool. So now we got this kid who we were talking about the article was about, and they did a surgery on him, and they said 1%. They told the parents, they said 1% chance that this kid is going to live. Just don't expect to have a child for very long.
Okay, so we need now we need to explain that you're back to the original article that you were reading, and we're done with Dr. House.
Yeah, we're done with Dr. House, and we're done with the original in utero surgery. Yeah. It was just a powerful message of this baby that was 3 months away from being born was still had the wherewithal to think about grabbing this doctor's hand, whether it was just a primitive emotion or whatever. It happened. It was powerful. But no, so now we're back on this article that you sent me yesterday about this child that was going to be born, well, actually still was, I guess, born with a health condition that would prevent him from breathing. And the doctors went into the uterus and did the surgery on this child's neck and basically put in breathing tubes to keep the pathway, the breathing pathway open so that the child could breathe once he was born. And of course, that is the fact that the kid lived at all was a miracle. Like, they said 1% chance. So first you get your first miracle, but then they also found out when they went in to go do the surgery, they discovered that this little boy didn't have any vocal cords. And so they said, well, he is never going to be able to talk. Well, I don't know how old he was. Several years later, a doctor went in and he basically reconstructed from different parts of the boy's body. I think it was like 4 or 5 different parts they took pieces from, and he kind of constructed a pseudo vocal cord, and he knows he's learning to talk. They said that through speech therapy and all those, they expect him to be able to talk and gain a full working knowledge of all the words that he needs to be able to say and be fully functional in his speaking ability, except that his voice is very raspy, which, I mean, considering that this was a human-made vocal cord made from different parts of the kid's body, the fact that it works at all is an unbelievable thing. You could see the mom during the interview, she was just all teared up, and which I would be too, I was almost in tears just watching her, and I thought, how cool is that? There's some things, and I know that I have a tendency to kind of, badmouth, a lot of things about modern day medicine, but things like this are things that I go, this is cool. There's no downside to this.
Doesn't it send goosebumps up your spine? I mean, it's just amazing. Wouldn't you just love to have been a part of that? If nothing more than an observer and the person that got to explain to the mother what was done?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Imagine the feeling that went through these parents the first time your child said a word, even though it was like, a single syllable word, and then finally was able to say dada and, mama, and I think the kid says like 20 something words now. But imagine, like you said, it would be sheer goosebumps, to think, we had, speaking of, when you said the word goosebumps, it made me think of, I had a moment like that one time, and we had a patient in our office when I was in Wichita, Kansas. Her name was Megan, and she was a 9-year-old girl who was born blind and had autism. And so just a lot of issues that the parents were dealing with. And we brought her into our office, and we started doing what we did with pretty much every other patient. We gave her chiropractic care, and we put her through a detox program and through a nutrition program, and really just tried to give her body the tools that it needed to repair itself, right? And what we were working on was we were trying to get her autism to subside a little bit and help her overcome the autism, which we made a lot of really great strides on. And I don't want to minimize, because it's really powerful what we did to help her recover from her autism and become much more functioning.
90 seconds.
One day, this is good because I can end this on an awesome note. Her mom walked in. I said, "Hey, anything new?" And she goes, "Yeah." And to get a long story short, Megan can now see lights and shadows.
Oh,
and when her mom told me that, she was touching lamps, she could see things. Literally chills, goosebumps. I imagine it was exactly the same as this kid learning how to talk. So there are some cool things out there that we can do. The human body, I think we don't even know what it's capable of to rebound from catastrophe. It's pretty cool.
You actually touch on this from time to time on the show about the body's own ability to repair itself and move forward and to substitute areas where it does things. And it's because medical science doesn't give our body the opportunity; it just kind of takes over. And I think that's really what you're opposed to so much, is that why not let the body do its thing?
Absolutely. That's exactly always my philosophy. Give the body the chance first. Absolutely.
Well, my friend, I want to take this opportunity to wish you the happiest of Thanksgivings, you and your mom and your whole family and your son. I want you to really make it a memorable day. We all have lots of things to be thankful for, but one of the things I'm thankful for is a guy named Sean LaFave. So go out and have a wonderful holiday, buddy, and we'll talk to you next week.
Well, Robert, I'm thankful for you, and on that note, my mom also told me to tell you Happy Thanksgiving, and you say Happy Thanksgiving to that gorgeous wife of yours as well. I hope you guys have a fantastic one.
I sure will, and Mrs. Lee, Happy Thanksgiving. Take care, guys. When we come back, we'll be with our own Suzette Mailer. Boy, has she got a great show going on today. We'll be right back to these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4 p.m. Pacific time, currently 67 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, our own Suzette Mailer, our current events reporter, is waiting in the wings. She's in her research library in Long Beach, California. She's got a special guest to talk to us today, so help me bring aboard our own Suzette Mailer. Suzette, you've got the microphone.
Hi, Robert. How are you today?
I'm terrific. And how about yourself? You all set for Thanksgiving?
I am. We have, several guests going. But I do want to point out, today is very interesting. You know, we have an extremely high tide. And in Long Beach, we have these seawalls, and the water is higher than our street level. So we have some breaches in our seawalls.
Really?
And we're expecting a storm. So everything we don't want is going to happen. We have a storm surge coming, and water is high because of because of climate change. We do have a higher level. I've never seen it above, street level.
I didn't realize.
I've recently seen it. Just recently have I noticed it's above street level, but it's during a full moon.
I didn't realize that your home was actually below sea level.
No, I am at sea level. I'm a block from the water, maybe a block and a half from the water, and. But I'm referring to Naples. These people have their homes built on a canal, and so it's going to be interesting to see a storm surge and such a high tide. So when we hang up, I'm going to go check it out because that sort of thing is fascinating.
Oh yeah. So have you actually had floods there by your house?
No, not by my house. When it rains quite a bit. I mean, the ground. We're going to see what happens. This is going to be an extreme El Nino. So it'll be the first time I will witness this. I've been in this. I don't think I've been in this house during. Maybe I haven't been in this house during an El Nino. So this will be my first rodeo.
Wow. Well, I hope you stay safe and dry.
Well, we're fortifying. Sandbags, and we're getting sandbags and getting ready for it. So
my goodness, I watch. You know what I mean? I'm a news junkie. I watch the news. I watch everything that's going on. I read all kinds of papers and things, and I didn't have a clue that was happening out in your area.
Well, you know what? As you know, I am your environmental citizen reporter, and so I'm on top of this. And we had interviewed Cynthia Rosenzweig from NASA. Remember a few weeks ago? She's a climatologist, and this is exactly what the UCCRN talks about: is preparing cities for what's coming up with rising sea levels and storm surges and high tides, all happening, converging at the same time. So, but we must push on. The show must go on. Today, we have a very interesting subject. We are going to talk about noise pollution.
Well, and that's something that affects the entire planet and humanity, right?
It does, except apparently in Ladera Ranch in Orange County. Yes, it does. There's no noise pollution there. It's very quiet there. And our guest, Sam Mohaden, lives in Ladera Ranch. Hi, Sam. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi. How are you?
How are you, Robert?
I'm terrific. And Sam, it's good to have you on board with us.
My pleasure.
I met with Sam today. He actually took a reading. He measured my hearing, and the good news is apparently I have remarkable hearing for my age. I have excellent hearing. The bad news is my threshold for pain is set at about 85 decibels, and which is within reason. And Sam will get into that later. So I guess you could say I'm sort of the guinea pig in the subject today.
Okay.
So, I contacted Sam because I have witnessed society turning a blind eye to what strikes me as excessively high noise levels. I see children unwittingly exposed to 85 decibels, 90 to 95 decibels, and for an hour at a time. For instance, I live across from a school with outdoor events that measure 95 decibels. My beloved church, St. Bartholomew, around the corner from me, it hits 95 decibels when the organ plays and 85 decibels when the lectors and priests speak.
Okay, so hang on. Whoa, hang on just a second, because you're talking about excessive decibels.
We're going to get into the details.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about excessive. What is normal?
We're going to get into that. Give us a moment. So, but first I want to say, how am I getting these readings? And as you know, Robert, for a year and a half, I covered smartphone technology for your show, and I would review apps. So I downloaded this app called Decibel Tenth, and everybody should download that and keep an eye on the noise levels. So I can turn my high quality iPhone mic into a credible decibel reader, and not only does it record data, but it gives an average, and it allows me to send the data via email or text. So Sam, do you think the world has gotten noisier? And maybe we better explain in that answer about decibels and what are normal levels to answer Robert's question.
Yes, without a doubt, there's more noise outside of the house and in the house than ever before. Average conversation is about 40 decibel. 60 decibel is very normal. You will understand speech within a distance, about maybe 8 to 10 feet. Now, 85 decibel. Yes, that's 60 decibel.
Okay.
85 decibel and above is loud. It can cause hearing loss. And so when we go to 95, 100, 120, let's measure that. A jet engine, if you stand by a jet engine, is 140 decibel. That's and only thing louder than that is a gunshot, which is about 150 decibel. So that's what normal is. 40, 50, 60 decibel.
Now, we also have a threshold of pain. My threshold is 85, and we know at 85 and above, that can start causing hearing damage. Threshold. I get ill. I get a headache. I get stabbing pains in the back of my ear. I'm actually bedridden. It affects my ability to speak, my voice box. And I get heart arrhythmias from it. If I get 90 and 95, my heart problems kick in. I don't have heart problems. I have a great heart. It's just that it reacts that way. But let's take a baby, a newborn baby. They have the sharpest hearing. What's their threshold? At what decibel is their pain threshold?
It's hard to measure because you can't, but because they hear so great compared to an older person.
Like Robert?
Yeah. I would think maybe 50, 60 decibel is going to be loud for them. And actually, an article I read by one of the most well-known neurosurgeon, and he's the head of UCI, head and neck surgery. He indicated that a lot of the toys out in the market now for infants and toddlers, they produce a noise that will cause hearing loss for these children. But we as a parents, we don't have enough knowledge about it, and they look cute and we'll keep the kids busy, so we just buy it and give it to them.
So what decibel are we talking about with these toys?
Again, 80, 85 decibel and above.
Oh, really?
Is absolutely harmful for sure for children, because again, they hear significantly better than a person who's middle-aged or maybe older. So
does this apply to toddlers and 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds?
Oh, absolutely. Even teenager. I have tested hearing of some teenagers. They hear unbelievable.
Okay.
Sam, let me ask you a question here, and it's just theorizing. So if young children have acute hearing, and even into teenage years they have acute hearing, is it that bombardment of the larger decibel range, is that what causes older people to lose that acute hearing because it's been destroyed by the large decibels attacking the eardrums?
Correct, yes. Because the damage starts at younger age. It doesn't have to be most people, the hearing loss in general, except some sudden losses and some trauma, things like that. We're talking about natural or environmental causing hearing losses. They're very gradual. I see people in office all the time. I ask them, what was your occupation? They say, well, I worked in a quiet office, accountant, something like that. And I said, well, let's look at this really severe high frequency loss you had. Oh, yeah. When I was 19 years old, for 3 years, I worked in a farm with my uncle somewhere. And I said, okay, there you go. Now that explains. So when they hear better, that loudness, it affects it. As a matter of fact, that's why it's kind of when they get in maybe 60, 70 years old and older than that, because the hearing loss already occurred, they don't hear it as well. So 95 decibel, that is loud and it can be harmful for hearing, is different for someone who's 5 years old, 60 years old, or 80 years old. It's completely different. Interesting.
Okay. So now we have these little hairs in our cochlea. Can you explain that to us? How the physics of how hearing is lost?
Sure. Most common type of hearing loss is noise induced. And in the cochlea we have hair cells. They take the electrical signal, the information to the brain, and brain translates those signals to sound, whether they're speech or noise. Many variety of things affect our hearing and will damage the cochlea. But the most common one is a noise, because we have children with a birth defect, very, very small percentage. We have people who get, like I mentioned, sudden loss. There is a virus goes in the ear. People wake up in the morning, oh my God, I can't hear one ear or both. Those are happens very, very rare. Majority of sensory neural hearing loss means the hair cells in the cochlear has been damaged, is noise induced. And it could be even one time exposure to a loud noise or a repeated long-term exposure to noise. It will damage the cochlear.
So it can also happen within an hour, can it? I mean, it whittles away.
It could.
You're exposed weekly, or you've got it at school, you have it at home, you have it at your church.
It could. It definitely could. It's hard to kind of say, well, I heard 1 hour and that, but the effect happens. It actually piles up, basically. Now, if a gunshot goes right by someone, exactly. So every time it will affect and it will negatively impact the hearing, but it may not. Like if you let's say after a service at the church, that many churches they play the music a little louder than it should be, in my opinion. But anyway, if you go and start testing,
believe me, in my opinion too.
if you take the individuals right after the service and go test their hearing, you may not see the effect right there and then, but it just is pile up.
It's cumulative.
Exactly. Same thing like a construction worker who uses jackhammer and he started the job this week or this month. You probably can detect a significant or even noticeable hearing loss right there. But I see them in here, that was their profession, that was their job for 5, 10, 20 years, and it was 50 years ago when they did that.
Now, what about people in the music industry who are exposed to, who played in a band or they're around speakers? I mean, my daughter goes to dances, and it must be about 100, 110 decibels.
Those are absolutely harmful.
Plays music. It's terrible.
Absolutely harmful. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of.
But now I've read that these musicians, their ears kind of acclimate to the decibel that they're accustomed to. So their threshold of pain rises. They're able to take more, but it is also probably related to their hearing loss. Is this true?
Correct. Yeah. Well, because it's their profession, they have to hear. So they play the music louder. The instrument that they play is very, very loud. So it's kind of they get accustomed to it. So the brain demands that loudness. If it's not loud, they just don't enjoy it. But they really don't realize they are getting hearing loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and now, have you ever heard? Now, I read an article. A young man went to a concert, and then he had a heart arrhythmia. Came home with a heart arrhythmia, and couldn't shake it, and he died of a heart attack because the music impacted his heart. How do you think that played out? What happened there?
The noise pollution has several effects. It's not only hearing loss. That's only part of it. It causes heart disease because, when we expose to this tremendous amount of energy. That
60 seconds.
Let's say that concert.
It sounds like we are going to a commercial break. Is that right, Robert?
In 50 seconds.
In 50 seconds. Okay.
That energy that just comes at these people who go to concert, about 115, 120 decibel, it makes the blood pressure go up, and it just gives them headache. I've personally talked to hundreds of people, like after concert, they say, "Oh my God, my ear's ringing." Okay, they can't even hear. Right after that, they speak so loud, and the heart pressure goes up. It affects the heart arrhythmia is definitely.
Yeah, if at 85 decibels, I can have an arrhythmia for 7 days.
And with that, we need to go on a commercial break. We'll be right back with our own Suzette Mailer and her special guest, sound expert Sam, right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own environmental reporter, Suzette Mailer, and her special guest, Sam Mogadan from Ascent Hearing Centers. Suzette, you've got the microphone.
Okay. So where were we in that conversation, Sam? You were talking about, I noticed like the organ in my church is so loud that I can feel a pulsing. There is pressure on my chest. What is happening in the church? I almost feel like the walls are moving, pulsing in and out. What's going on there?
Yeah, well, sound waves, especially if it's is in an enclosed area like a auditorium or a church, they will reverberate back, and you as an audience sitting there. So this energy from every direction come and impact you. So first you hear it, but it affects different part of your body. I've experienced some like a loudspeakers, if you get near it, you will feel the vibration. Actually, if it's loud enough, it will. You can see your garment is kind of moving. So that loudness, obviously, people have different threshold. That is called a UCL, uncomfortable level of hearing. At some people, is very high. You mentioned some musicians, but for normal, average individual, about 75, 80 decibel, that's kind of getting loud. There's a difference.
95? What do you think of 90 and 95?
90, 95 is loud. 95, actually, 85 decibel and above is considered harmful to hearing. But look, we kind of talked about, it has different, it has cardiovascular disturbance. High blood pressure goes up. It has mental effect. People are less productive at work. When people go home from noisy environment, noisy day, they don't want to enjoy music. They don't want to talk to people. They don't want to go have a nice meal out with other people. It's just they want to isolate themselves. They just want to say, okay, I want to get away from everything and everybody. And so there are many effects of the loudness.
Wait, let's talk about the isolation. I find that I cannot participate. I've had to bow out of many a thing because of speakers. And I feel a sense of isolation, and I feel, and it's very depressing, and it's extremely frustrating. And so, can you talk about that isolation? That is a real thing. The psychological part of this component of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, our ever fast-moving society toward industrialization, this noise that we can't get away with from is there. And yeah, so some events, some recreational, even some religious ceremonies and places, they have a set loudness level that they will maintain, especially if children and maybe younger individual attend. They don't realize that they will affect their hearing for sure. Mm-hmm. The hearing is for sure. And we don't want to talk about other aspects of that because that's a little bit. Obviously, you can't ask a 4-year-old that how's your blood pressure? Does this sound make you angry? Blah blah blah. But if you ask a kid, a young individual, young child, is this loud to you? He or she will definitely respond, yeah. And so, as far as isolation, I think some places they don't realize that people have different threshold, different tolerance for noise, and instead of maybe accommodating, so they ask them to maybe find another outlet, another place that they will play their music so ever soft. But it is. I know it exists. I talk to my patient here. Most of them, they never go to movie, not because they don't hear, because it's so loud. It's painful. Movies are painful. But you try to have the theater reduce the volume, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that, once an administrator or, a business owner is made aware of the damage that can happen at 85 plus decibels, and how it can make their maybe their parishioners uncomfortable, and that they would consider adjusting their speaker system to accommodate everybody, because I'm not missing a leg. So it's really hard to tell that I have a problem, and I can't get sympathy for it because I'm not missing a leg. But truly, I do feel handicapped about this. It's extremely frustrating. I didn't ask for it. I don't want it. And I just think in some situations, like a church, they can accommodate their parishioners and reduce the volume, somewhat, so everybody is served instead of, expecting them to just leave the church. And, I did some research. I was wondering about motorcycle. Later we're going to get into comparing noises with noise levels or decibels to associate decibels to noise made by certain objects. But I looked at Harley-Davidson, and Harley-Davidson engines are at about 95 decibels. The organ in our church is 95 decibels. I have a fellow parishioner named Emerson Duke, and he is the owner of this fabulous Polynesian restaurant called Don the Beachcomber. It's in Surfside, and California here. And when he learned that the organ was at 95, he was bowled over because, he has bands come to his restaurant, and he has to cap it at 90 decibels. They cannot exceed 90 decibels because it starts disturbing the neighbors. And so,
let me ask you a question. What is at the church that you go? What is the average age of demographics there?
The age demographic?
Yeah.
I would say it's about 50-50. We do have older parishioners, and I'm friends with most of them. I love them, and then and then the rest of them I would say are parents and young kids, and the older ones I will say I've spoken with them. Some don't even bother wearing a hearing aid, and another one just turns it off during the
Yeah, it basically, actually, most hearing aids. 100 decibel, if an individual has a hearing threshold of 100 decibel and above, basically that's considered deafness, because after that is not. So if they play 95, even if, let's say, if someone has a hearing loss and they wear hearing aids, the sound that comes at 95, especially music, that it will be extremely discomforting to the ear, because they need to realize this electronics sit in the canal very close to eardrum, and they designed to amplify the sound. But when things are at, let's say, that Harley Davidson or the music at your particular church, and I've seen at some school the principal or some of the teachers, they have these megaphone and they walk around and yell at these kids all day long, and that affects, they hear you, but you're damaging the kids' ear. So it would be one story if this particular church, majority of them, if not all of the participants, are seniors, most assumed to have a hearing loss, and a lot of them request from the administrator, you know what, we don't hear. Can you speak up? Can you make the speaker louder? Can you play the music louder? That was one story. But you telling me that maybe a good percentage of individual attending this particular church, there are middle-aged adults and younger children, they do not need 95 dB to hear.
And 85 for the, when a priest speaks and gives the homily, 85 is excessive, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, average speaking is 40 decibel. 60, you will hear and understand every word at 60 dB, unless you have hearing loss, unless you do have actually.
But then you get a hearing aid, and then that compensates. So it's not necessary to have the speaker so loud. Otherwise,
correct.
You can do further damage. Well, it's interesting. I did some research and about how loud the periodical is called "How Loud Are Churches?" How it should be, or something like that. You can do an internet search on that. But And what this person said was Disneyland sets their rides when you go inside a ride at 75 decibels. And they consider that the gold standard. And when they set it at 75, it does not exceed 85. It allows 10 decibels to as cushion for punctuation, they call it. So if they want to emphasize a point, they can do that. You know what's interesting is I have been going, because I haven't been able to go to my parish, I've been going to other ones, and I'm noticing something I've never seen before, and that's they're louder. The ones in my surrounding area have become louder, and I kind of wonder if there's not a vendor who has struck gold with the Catholic Church, and they're selling these sound systems, and and they sell speakers, so maybe they've got hearing problems. They're calibrating according to their hearing instead of what the standard should be.
Yeah,
so
it is possible that, but I mean, if this company or this individuals that installing the sound system, but the administrators of church, they need to use, and I hope I don't get in trouble, common sense that, okay, nobody's in the church, let's play, let's see how everything works. And I'm thinking maybe they have hearing loss. Maybe for them, because if you have 20, 30, 40, 50 decibel hearing loss, then that 95 that is extremely loud for you and loud for a lot of other people, maybe for this person, if you have 50 decibel hearing loss, you deduct that from 95, you don't hear that well. So
time for a hearing aid.
Yeah, so that's the hearing aid.
We have lovely Irish priests in our church. It's a beautiful church, and they are beautiful, beautiful, loving men, and I'm so grateful to them. And I belong at St. Bartholomew, and I just hope to bring attention and hope that this message will be heard, and they can make some adjustments over there. And also, I plan to send
60 seconds.
Okay. Listen, I would like you to give out your information so that people can find you.
Thank you.
What's your website address?
Is www.ascenthearinglongbeach.com. Is ASCENT hearinglongbeach.com.
Okay, great. And I want to thank you so much for sharing this very important information. We'll have you back sometime.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and I also want to note that Sam, he will go to senior centers and just do free hearing tests. He'll go to a church and give free hearing tests. He's very generous that way and expects nothing in return. So, Ascent Hearing in Long Beach. So.
And we've been talking to our own Suzette Mailer, our environmental reporter, and her special guest, Sam Mogadan from Ascent Hearing Centers. And we're going to be right back, so don't go away. We're going to handle the birthdays for today, the secret daily teachings for your life, Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. In the meantime, Suzette, you and Sam, please have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that your family creates lots and lots of great memories for you guys, and stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
You too, Robert. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Good night, everybody.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:40 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's time for me to give you the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is how managers can get started with analytics. You know, analytics is becoming a competitive necessity for many managers. Even if it's not part of your job description, there's a good chance that you at least need to understand the basics. Here's how to get started. Get educated. Enroll in an executive education class, read books and articles, or take on online courses to learn the fundamentals. And form relationships with your team's quants. Show them that you value their skills and expertise. Help them understand the business so they can help you make the best decisions. And establish open communication. Ask your quants lots of questions to make sure you know the estimates and assumptions in your data. Don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. And finally, respect the data. Figure out the key metrics that you need, then run experiments to test them. Data, not instincts or opinions, should drive your decision. That's exactly where we're at. Now, it is time for those secret daily teachings of your life. And you know that this is all about a positive mental attitude. You've heard me talk about this all the time. Well, the secret for today is, if you have held thoughts in the past that the only way money can come to you is through your job, then let that go immediately. Can you appreciate that as you continue to think that, it must be your experience? Such thoughts do not serve you. Just know that if you have a positive mental attitude, whatever you want in life is actually going to come your way. Well, it is time for the birthdays for today. It's somebody's birthday. It's November the 24th, for Pete's sake. Oh, yeah, and we've got some good birthdays today. And here's a guy that was born in 1948, a right-handed former catcher who spent 14 of the 15 seasons of his career from 1972 through 1985 with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Happy birthday, Steve Yeager. And here's a gal born in 1949, a political figure central in the Lewinsky scandal of 1998 and 1999. Happy birthday, Linda Tripp. And finally, Katherine Heigl, born in 1978, an actress best known for her role as Dr. Lizzie Stevens on Grey's Anatomy. Well, what happened today in history? I can tell you, November 24th, 1947 was the Red Scare. After the so-called Hollywood 10 refused to cooperate with the House Un-American Activities Committee concerning allegations of communist influence in the movie industry, the United States House of Representatives votes 346 to 17 to approve the sit. Well, how about this? On November the 24th, 1963, Lee Harvey Oswald is fatally shot by Jack Ruby in the basement of the Dallas Police Department headquarters. The shooting was broadcast live on television. Well, the quote for today comes from Arthur Rubinstein. Arthur says, "Love life and life will love you back. Love people, and they will love you back." Now, you're talking about good stuff here, right? Absolutely. Now, talking about good stuff, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. Did you know that cattle are sacred in Italy, in India? I don't know where that first word came from, but it's India is what I was trying to say. How about this? You know, in M&M candies, the letters stand for Mars and Murray. The developers of the candy in 1941. That's where M&M's came from. I bet you didn't know that, did you? No. How about this? Rapper L.A. Cool J's name is short for Ladies Love Cool James. I bet you didn't know that either. Here's one for you. The designer of the Statue of Liberty, French sculptor Frederic Auguste Bertoldi, used his wife as the model for the body and his mother as the model for the face of Miss Liberty. Wow. Can you imagine? And you know that a queen bee lays about 1,500 eggs on an average day. Wow. That's a lot of honey if it's honeybees, right? Yeah. Try this on for size. Did you know that fleas can jump 130 times higher than their own height? 130 times. Now, in human terms, this is equal to a 6-foot person jumping 780 feet into the air. Now, there's something to think about. Don't think that's going to be possible, huh? Me either. How about this? The 57 on Heinz ketchup bottle represents the varieties of pickle the company once had. Yep. There you go. Did you know that you burn more calories sleeping than watching television? I believe that. I'm not sure I know why, but I believe that. How about this? Did you know that mules are genetically sterile? For instance, they cannot reproduce. That's right. Okay, so try this one on for size. You know, women have about 4 times as many foot problems as men do. Lifelong patterns of wearing high heels often are the culprit there. So, you know what? Go barefoot, ladies. Barefoot and pregnant. They said something about barefoot and pregnant, right? How about this? Did you know a group of whales is called a pod? I think everybody did know that, actually. Try this one on for size. The original pack of Skittles doesn't contain the color blue. Therefore, you can't actually taste the rainbow. You know, in Illinois, it is illegal for barbers to use their fingers to apply shaving cream to a customer's face. There's one for you. Of course, there's a lot of weird laws that are going on, but there's one for you. Try this one. Did you know that all shrimp are born male, but slowly grow into females as they mature? So, is that evolution into a higher position in life? Give it some thought. Did you know the difference between apple juice and apple cider is that the juice is pasteurized and the cider is not? There's one for you. How about this? It takes 25 muscles to swallow. You ever give that any thought? Here's one. Banging your head against a wall uses 150 calories an hour. I don't think I'm going to go there, but I will leave you with this. An apple, a potato, and an onion all taste the same if you eat them with your nose plugged. Give it a try. You never know what you'll come up with. In the meantime, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one's from Gregory Draper from Chesapeake, Virginia. He's asking about an inherited stamp collection, and I'm going to tell you all about that when we get back from this messages. Don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 71 degrees, although I think it was hotter than that today. But it's on its way to 48 degrees, which is going to be really cool and neat, right? Well, we're coming down to the wire, so it's time for me to answer your emails. But before we do that, I want to remind you that sometimes the information you send me is just a little bit sketchy. So we always encourage you to talk to a licensed professional. They're always going to save you more money than they cost you, and they're going to give you peace of mind. One of the conditions of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance. That's the same thing as malpractice insurance. But what that means is when they give you advice, and if they're wrong, they pay the piper. So you don't have to worry about losing sleep at night or that registered letter coming or phone calls or knock on the door. If any of that happens, you just turn it over to the licensed professional and say, hey, buddy, you screwed up. Write the check. Now, let me tell you, my first email today comes from Gregory Draper from Chesapeake, Virginia. He's asking about an inherited stamp collection. It says, I inherited a valuable stamp collection from a relative who had inherited it years earlier from another relative. If I sell it or part of it, how do I calculate my gain? I have no possible way of finding out how much the stamps cost the original collector. You know what, Gregory? You don't need to know how much the stamps originally cost to calculate gain on their sale. When you inherited them, they received what's known as stepped-up basis. That's their cost for tax purposes that became their value on that date or on the alternative valuation date, which is 6 months later, if that was actually elected. Now, generally, gain or loss on a future sale will be determined from that amount, and there are exceptions to this rule. Be sure you have a sound appraisal of the collection's value as of the date that you inherited it, and keep it in your permanent records. If you think you might sell off separate items of the collection, get separate appraisals of those items in that as the inheritance date, and that way you'll be taken care of and you'll have no problem whatsoever. Well, next email comes from Tristan Eberhardt from Lincoln, Nebraska, asking about medical expenses for a child and says, I'm a divorced parent with custody of my children. Although my ex-husband claims the dependency exemption for them under the terms of our divorce, I pay medical costs for the children. May I take a medical deduction for them even though the children aren't my dependents? Well, Tristan, yes, you may. Not everyone realizes this because the general rule that one can take medical deductions only for costs paid on behalf of dependents did at one time apply to divorced parents too, but this has been changed. Today, either parent claims a child as a dependent. A parent who pays medical costs on behalf of the child can claim a medical expense deduction for all those such costs. But just keep in mind that in order to claim that, your medical expense has to exceed 10% of your adjusted gross income, and then you only get that amount that exceeds that. So that's all the medical expenses, not just the dependents. So just keep that in mind. Now, next email comes from Faith Cagney from Riverside, California, asking about an IRA conversion, and says, my fiance has an IRA that she wants to convert to a Roth, but after we marry, our joint income will be more than $100,000 limit for doing so. Can we get around this by making the conversion before our wedding day later this year? Well, I'm sorry, but the answer to your question is no. Marital status for the entire year is determined by the status at the end of the year, and a conversion isn't possible for those filing a joint return with income over $100,000. So it's also not possible to escape the income limit by filing a separate return, since separate filers aren't eligible to make a conversion. Now, to be eligible to make the conversion this year, you'll have to find some way to reduce your joint income to under $100,000 limit for the year, or remain unmarried until year end, which could cause you more problems than just taxes, right? Yeah, sure. How about this? Last email comes from Gannon Gallagher from Kansas City, Missouri, asking about a home sale exemption, and says, I know that one must have used a home as a primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years to take tax-free gain on its sale. But is the date of the sale included in the 2 years? That is, can I rent my home out for 3 years before selling it? You know, that's a great question, Gannon. And the answer is yes. As long as you still meet the 2 of 5 year residency test, you can sell your home for a tax-free gain of up to $250,000 or $500,000 if it's on a joint return, less any depreciation taken during the rental period, even after having converted it to a for-profit rental. So that's good news, and I like giving good news. You can bet on that. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Every single Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and we're on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. And then we're on the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with John Matthews and the Conservative Syndicate every Monday and Friday from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. Now, on my next show, it's a simulcast with Dr. Wireless Joel Saltzman, and he's going to be talking about wireless technology. We're also going to have our own Ray Mailer. He's going to be talking about traffic congestion on his series, The American Grid. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. I also want to encourage you to get our apps. We've got them for Android and Windows. We also have them for your, what do you call that doggone thing? Apple products. You know, just go to the Apple Store and search Robert Cardoza Live, or go to GooglePlay.com. If you have an Android or Windows product, do the same thing. Search Robert Cardoza Live. The app is absolutely free. It allows you to follow us. You can listen to us live, whether it be on your laptop or your tablet or your phone, anything. And you can also, if we're live, you can chat with us during the show, or you can listen to any of our archive shows. We'd appreciate you doing that and telling all your friends about it. In the meantime, I want you to stay safe. I want you to be happy. I want you to make everyone's life you touch better because you're in it. And I'm going to leave you with one thing, and that is, good night, everybody.